my approach and a lot of the successful students that we've got, it just seems to be like the ones who get out there and just almost like a scattergun approach of just going on viewings, speaking to people, telling everyone what you
Mhm.
do.
Mhm.
Um, it seems a bit crazy and wild in the beginning, but when I look back, like some of our best deals have come from just random interactions with people that we've told them, this is what we're looking for, this is what my company does. Um, if you have any properties like this now, then we'd happily view them. You know, if you've got any more coming on in the future, we'd love you to think of us first, you know. Um,
Okay.
so just telling people what you do, introducing yourself. It depends how brave you feel at the moment, you know. Like I think you're more than capable of doing it, but it just depends
Yeah,
where you feel like you're at, you know.
I think I am.
Yeah, yeah. Like there's nothing you can lose from doing it.
Yeah.
And universally, the more you tell people it is what you do, the more chance you've got of the opportunity coming to you, haven't you?
Yeah.
So I think I think we should start looking on Rightmove and
Okay.
analyzing a couple properties and just going on the viewings, not necessarily to even put an offer in just yet, but just to like build that rapport and get used to it
Mhm.
because you just don't know what can come from it. Like we've got another gentleman in the group called Joe, and I don't even know if well, I can see he's done some of the course. He's got his first rent to rent deal now. He bought it from someone else in the group. But he was just like so he's quite a geezer, you know, quite like happy to go and talk to people. Like that's what he loves to do. He's quite a talker, quite a good communicator. But he's not so good at necessarily like this side of it, the theory side, making his website. I haven't even seen his website. He hasn't, I don't think he's built one. But one thing I noticed about him was that he was just like going on viewing, speaking with agents, telling them what it is that he wanted over and over again. And just before he bought his deal, um, agents were actually coming to him like saying, "This landlord's open to a company let. Do you want to come and view it?" Like within a few weeks, he had made friends. Is my point.
Okay.
And I was
Okay.
just like, and it's like when I look at people like that, I think, okay, that there's something we can take from that, and that's similar
Yeah.
to how I used to do it as well. Um, go on viewings, not necessarily with the intention of this is going to be the one and I'm going to offer on it. I just want to tell people what it is that I do, leave them with a business card. Hopefully they have a look at my website and it just gets the ball rolling, you know?
Okay. And I'm a doer as well. I like that sort of thing. I
Yeah,
talk to people for my work. I'm
yeah,
always out. So
yeah,
yeah, I'm going to enjoy that side of it.
yeah. I think because it just brings everything together.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you. I think you are a good communicator. And some of the people that come on the program, they're not as good as you are at communicating. So I think we should lean into our strengths for sure,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and just see what can come from it. You know, we don't necessarily have to get a deal within the next few weeks. We're not going to rush, but what would be good is to have like a couple of estate agents on your WhatsApp or that you speak to once a week that you almost know on a first name basis. That would be a good sort of aim to go for,
Okay.
and that
Yeah.
they also recognize you because you've phoned them a few times and you've gone on a couple viewings. Maybe you viewed three or four properties with the same agent, and by that time they start to become familiar with you. Um,
Right.
I mean, my first deal, like I'm sure I've told you before, but it was from an estate agent, and he was just a youngish chap. I was a bit younger at the time. Um, we built a bit of a rapport, you know, like he was very interested in Ibiza and partying and stuff like that, and I've done that at times in my life. So we bounced back and forth
Okay.
about that. Um, football, any sort of common thing you can talk about that isn't necessarily all to do with property.
Yeah.
It just something about humans. We just like to talk about different topics that we can relate to each other with.
Hmm.
So, just be likable, be yourself, be how you are with me.
Yeah.
But, the more you show up, the more you continuously say, this is what I'm looking for. And you show that you are kind of here to stay and you're not just like here on a bit of a whim from watching one YouTube video.
Hmm.
More people feel more inclined to want to work with you, you know?
Yeah, I think that's that's really what I've been looking forward to. I know Christmas time is slow and
Hmm.
people are focusing on that, but January energies, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
ready, ready to get out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I think you can definitely get ahead, especially in like January, even leading into February. Everyone's like back at work, just going through the motions, but doesn't
Yeah,
really be there.
yeah.
And like, if you can be like that sort of bright spark, be likable, and eventually, you'll be able to communicate to the agents that you can be an asset to them. Like there's quite a few ways that we've discussed that you can position your offer to them, but ultimately, by picking up the phone to you, they could get two or three properties rented quite quickly to one person, being yourself, um, rather than having to market it to loads of different people,
Right,
go
right.
and take all the photos, go and do all the viewings. Like in terms of agents meeting their quota and
Hmm.
getting places rented to someone and getting their fee from the landlord, it's easier to go through a company like yours because you could rent more than one property, you could move quite quickly.
Hmm.
There's a lot of things in your favor that make their job
Right.
easier. And on paper, it makes them look better because they've rented, consistently to people in a shorter amount of time. So that makes them look better to their employer.
Right.
Um,
So I've got a question.
yeah, go on.
So when I am calling agents, like if I'm interested in a property and all of that,
Mhm.
in the first conversation before the viewing, am I telling them I'm a company let, or
Mhm.
would I rather go on the viewing and then explain a bit more what I do and give them my business card, or is it better to tell them from the get-go?
Good question. I think at this stage, I think the less you say in terms of like what it is that you're going to offer, I think that's best to be said on face to face. I think is a
Hmm.
way of
That's
doing it.
what I was thinking as well. Yeah.
Um, just because at the moment your sole purpose at the moment is to just go on the viewings and
Hmm.
introduce yourself, and you're trying to learn, which properties would be good for you as well at the same time. So you just want to get to the viewing. That's your goal. So
Okay.
it's very simple. You're just going to book a viewing like you would with like anyone else would call up and book a viewing. If they do ask, which some of them might do, is the property for yourself? Is it like a company let? Then I guess you could go into it and you could say, well, it would be for a company, my company. And some of them are just going to say, okay, no problem, because they've done that before. Um, if they've had a bad experience with another company, then they might be like, could you tell me a bit more about your company? And then, you can just be honest, we're a new company. We're starting in this is the area that we're operating in. We're looking to take on multiple properties in this area, which you are.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, if they're completely against it and there's no chance of doing any business at all, then maybe there's no point going on the viewing, right? But
Yeah.
it might not get to that stage on the phone call. Um, and I think it's a lot different to when I first started, when I actually had to like educate the agent on what rent to rent was. It's not like that anymore.
Things that common back in those days.
Yeah, it's not like that anymore. I think they know, like they get calls often from people trying to do this sort of stuff. So
Hmm.
you haven't got to educate them. But the challenge is going to be obviously like, how are you different from others? And like, why are you trustworthy? These are the questions that they're going to be thinking like. And I've already thought of a couple ways that you could sort of manipulate that situation in your favor. Um, but I guess first things first, let's just try and call a few agents, go on a few viewings and go from there. But I've even I think like the money that you've got sitting in the bank, I mean that could be a little card you could pull out later on down the line in terms of just showing a screenshot.
Yeah.
Uh, because when I first started, there was a guy in Newport that was going into the estate agents, and he was a Polish guy, and what he would do is he was like a relocation agent, and we did some work together, but what he would do is he would go and speak with all of the foreign people that are coming over to work on construction sites, things like that,
Yeah.
mainly Polish people. And because he could translate for them, he would like go, rather than taking on the properties like we're going to try and do and furnish them, he would
Mhm.
find someone like me or you, and he'd also walk into the estate agents, and he would try and rent the properties in his company's name. So very similar, um, but he wouldn't furnish them. He wouldn't do any of that stuff. He would try and find someone like us first to sort of
Mhm.
take the property from us. Um, and he would obviously charge the contractors a premium for that. And they kind of wanted to work with him because he spoke their language and they felt more comfortable with him.
Okay.
But
Right.
he was walking into the estate agents and showing them like a screenshot of 100 grand in the in his one of his accounts at some point, you know. And I remember speaking with the agents, and that made them trust him a lot more than most people. So this is just a little card that we could use at some point if need be. Don't want to be like unnecessarily showing them things for no reason.
Yeah.
But if we want to build that trust and you want to kind of prove that you've got the yearly rent there in savings, um, that could encourage them to want to work with you a little bit more, you know.
So that spurred my next question to you because I'm thinking I was toying around with this idea. Should I loan the company maybe like £10,000 or like £15,000, like what I intend to use? Because right now the money's coming out from my bank account. So do I loan that to the company, put that straight into the company's account?
Yeah, I think
And
that
that shows that the company has a bit of
yeah,
capital.
yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. Um,
Okay.
I think that'd be a good idea. But like even showing the money from a personal account is still not
Yeah.
it still shows that you're more reputable than someone who hasn't got the money, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Having some money in your business account would be good. Um,
Hmm.
but people are quite fickle, and when they can see like a yearly amount of money in there, like in terms of rent, that's going to make a landlord feel a lot more like, okay, well, this
Yeah.
person's a bit more serious than someone who just wants to rent their property and start making their first pound, you know, like it makes
Yeah.
them stand out from people like that. And I used to sit in the estate agents and hear them talk about this chap, and it was like, that they knew he was a bit rough around the edges, but because he'd showed them this screenshot, they were all
Okay.
excited about working with him to a certain extent, you know.
Okay.
And it makes their job a lot easier because when they then go to the landlord and say, this person wants to rent your property, as a company let, and then they show them that, some of the landlords are like rubbing their hands thinking, okay, that's at least they've got the money there.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a little ace of spades that we could use. But initially I don't want that to be like front of mind for you.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
It's
No.
something you can pull out of your pocket if need be.
Hmm.
I think the first sort of 20 viewings, I think you just want to just go and have a look, have a conversation, get to know the area, get to know some of the estate agents on a first name basis, um, and just get a feel for it, really.
Okay.
That's all I
Yeah.
that's what I want you to do right now. I think aim for like around 20 viewings is the first step. 20 to 25 viewings is what we should try and aim for. Whether that takes you 1 week or 2 weeks. I just think trying to block them together as well is obviously a
Yeah.
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 I was just looking on Rightmove myself in the Nottingham area. There's quite a lot of properties on there, isn't there? It's almost quite overwhelming the amount of properties that are there.
Yeah, it is. The only trouble is looking on open rent and spare room, looking at the demand.
Mm.
There's more supply than demand. That's the trouble. So it's trying to find the right area. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why I was thinking of probably like Birmingham, because
yeah,
there's certain areas in Birmingham that the demand is higher than the supply.
yeah. How are you checking the the demand, sorry, on spare room and open rent? Are you toggling to see people that are looking for rooms?
Yeah. Yeah. So I put whatever area and then I look at how many rooms are in the area available
Mhm.
and then I check for how many is wanted in the area and
Yeah,
just
yeah, got you. That's the right way to do it. So in Nottingham, there's like what 300 people on spare room looking, something like that. That's what I saw this morning when I
yeah,
had a little brief look. And then there's like 900 properties on Rightmove around that sort of figure. So like three times the amount. That's what I
yeah,
saw. Um,
yeah. I'll have a look at this more. I'll have a look.
yeah, and on spare room, I think there was around 1,000 or something like that. But maybe that we could be more specific in Nottingham. Like, is there a particular postcode that you would like to start in, because I used to start in MP19 and MP20. That was my little mile patch in Newport that I started with. So
Okay.
narrow it
So
down even.
the areas I was looking at. So I was looking at like studenty areas and like near the hospitals and that sort of thing,
Mhm.
and like they have like retail parks and developments.
Mhm.
So I was looking at NG7.
NG7, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we just did NG7 and then worked it out from there. Yes, it's still like 843. And this is I've done a filter on Rightmove for like 5 bedroom and above, just to try and get a bit of a filter process going and like less to look at.
Okay. And
Uh
then do you see a lot of the rooms as well? They look like rooms that have been refurbed, something like what we've done, like what we do.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of student properties here and quite nicely refurbished ones, but that isn't necessarily a deterrent, you know, like some of these landlords are going to miss the student cycle. Some of them, for whatever reason, they won't find students um necessarily in the amount of time they wanted to. So there could still be an opportunity there. Um, some of them are renting, like they have options in the description of with bills or without bills
Yeah.
included. So like what we're kind of looking for is the ones that have an offer without bills that is kind of reasonable. The ones that are offering with the bills included, is probably going to be at the higher end of what you want to
Yeah.
pay. We're kind of looking for the landlord who has just put a little bit on top of what a normal 5 bedroom house would be. And they're just looking to just rent it to someone, a group, and let them pay all the bills.
Right.
That's kind of what we're looking for. Um, so I mean, you'll be able to find these ones just by filtering through and just having a look. But I don't want you to focus on trying to find the perfect property. I just want you to get out there, like, and just
And like
start
talk to
start
people and put my name out there.
Yeah, yeah. Because these first 20 probably aren't going to be necessarily the ones that you're going to end up offering on, you know. Um,
Yeah.
I just think it'd be good to go and get familiar with some of these agents and go and see what type of houses would be the perfect fit for you. I mean,
Okay.
the reason why I've gone 5 bed and above is just because sometimes with the 4 bedrooms there isn't the margin as well.
Hmm.
The 5 beds there's always a bit more of a margin. Like this one, for example, that I'm looking at here. Can you see on the screen?
Yeah.
Um, see the condition of this one. This is the
Yeah.
type that you should be looking at because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
in very good condition, right? It
Yeah.
a lot of love and care could be added to this.
Yeah. Yeah. I can definitely dress that up.
Yeah, and it's at the lower end of the price point. If you look at like 1950,
Yeah.
you know, they've been getting £90 a week for a room. So in this example, you could potentially offer them what they want nearly,
Hmm.
and then you could get the uplift by making it nicer. And then
Yeah. And taking good photos and that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then you could be renting more at this sort of price.
Yeah.
So we're looking for the ugly ducklings that we can dress up
Okay.
because the ones that are perfect, you know, they're going to want maximum rent, aren't they?
And there'll
And
be no margin for us.
there won't be much margin unless we
Mhm.
were to do the Airbnb model
Yeah.
with and only sort of advertise to nightly rate people,
Yeah.
which I would personally like your first deal to be able to be used as both. Because if you were to change this one and improve it,
Hmm.
you would have both options then. You could rent it by the room and make a profit margin, or you could rent it by the night and make money. And I don't want to put you into a corner where you can only make money in one way.
I mean, that's a good strategy because the rooms that are void, like you're saying, it can always be advertised on
Yeah,
Airbnb.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think at the moment everyone on social media is like Airbnb is the buzzword, right? Like that's what all the people are doing now. That's mo most people's strategy when they're talking about rent to rent is service accommodation, Airbnb.
Yeah.
But I've definitely seen a shift in the short stay model over the last sort of year and a half. After COVID, it was super busy. Like all the houses were getting rented on Airbnb, and we was making really good money up
Mm.
until around the end of 2022, start of 2023. And then it just felt like so many people were doing it, and all the landlords were switching their normal houses to Airbnbs. It just became a lot more stock for people to choose from. And
Yeah.
even some of my own houses that we had as Airbnbs, we ended up switching them back to like medium term tenants. So like doctors, nurses that are going to stay for like 6 months at a time, 9 months at a time, just because
Okay.
we weren't getting booked the same way. Now, and it's going to be area dependent, like maybe Nottingham is still booming for Airbnb, but
Hmm.
I just from a mentor perspective, I don't want to force you to take something that only works from one of the strategies. I want it to be able to tick a few boxes, especially that first one.
Yeah. So when I'm like marketing towards like if the one property, if I'm marketing it towards like a certain demographic of people,
Hmm.
wouldn't if I'm to change and see, okay, right, there's a couple of rooms void. Let's say I've got students or I've got professionals,
Hmm.
and there's a couple of rooms void for like 2 weeks or whatever.
Hmm.
If I'm going to then put that on Airbnb, wouldn't that piss off the current tenants thinking, oh, now she's getting random people
Yeah,
coming in,
yeah. Good question. Well, I wasn't clear with what I said there. So what I meant was I want you to be able to switch between the two, but not like in the same house, in the same
All right.
tenancy. I mean, like, so say for example, spring and summer, we would have it on Airbnb and Booking.com. And
Mm.
then going into like autumn, winter, you would rent it to one or two people from the same company, or if it's a 5 bed, then hopefully 5 people.
All
Um,
right.
and do like a medium term tenancy in between, basically. So switching between
Right. Right.
at different time periods, not at the same time.
Okay.
Because we have had people try and do that before and it hasn't gone well.
Okay. Yeah.
You
I
thought-
can imagine. I think I
Yeah,
would feel the same as
yeah,
well
'cause,
if I was.
yeah, you go into the toilet and you're just seeing someone walk past you who's just like just got there from the night before. Is too much going on.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, there's loads here to choose from. It's just a case of filtering through and just arranging some viewings and getting yourself out there. I think that's the next step for you.
Yeah, okay. So I'll get my business cards ordered today and hopefully get just a delivery early this week, and then I can start going to
Yeah,
view properties.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's nice to leave people with something, but again, it's not imperative. Like, as long as you can send them like a follow-up email, maybe this would be another little hack for you as well. When you on your email account, normally you can have a signature, like your
Oh
email.
yeah,
So
yeah.
included in your signature, you should have like a link. You can put links in, can't you? So you could have a link to your landing page
All right. Yeah, that's a
for all
great
your stuff
idea.
in your signature,
Yeah.
and also have like
Mhm.
your email address. So we'll just have like 4 different contact things. So we'll have our email, then we'll have
Mhm.
my mobile number, um, and then we'll have our website link
Okay.
underneath it, just so that when if you were to view a property and you're following up, then the agent has all that information there. So if they were to put something over to the landlord, it's all there for them. It just keeps things a bit more professional. And again, it allows them to see that you are a proper company, have a look at your website, and your marketing can do the talking for you rather than you having to sell yourself so much.
Yeah, that sounds good. And then also I got another question as
Yeah, go
well.
on.
I see people post deals on the group.
Hmm.
What would you think? I don't think that's a good fit for me right now. Would you prefer that I just focus on speaking to agents, seeing
Yeah,
what's out there first before
yeah,
I,
yeah. Don't
yeah.
get the shiny penny syndrome. We're not
Yeah.
quite. We're not there yet. I mean, we will have a look at the deals, and if one works for you, I'll definitely let you know. I'll suggest it to you. But I
Okay.
think right now we need to just focus on this for now.
Yeah.
Focus on developing the skills, learning the process, sticking to the script.
Hmm.
Um, and if for whatever reason we haven't got a deal in a few months' time, then we could look into potentially maybe looking at a sourcer or one of the
Okay.
source deals. But for now, I'm more than confident that you'll be able to find your own. So
Yeah.
rather
Yeah,
you save,
definitely.
I'd rather you save that 3 grand or whatever you'd pay to someone.
Yeah,
And I'd rather that be spent on an amazing refurbishment of your own deal or like
absolutely.
fancy furniture, amazing pillows, canvases, that sort of stuff. I'd rather you put
Yeah.
that money there because that will give you more
Yeah.
of a return quicker.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I agree.
those opportunities will come and go. So don't worry, like they will come and go. And there'll be more that goes into the group. I'm looking at speaking with a couple of the better sources that are in the UK at the moment, and if we can work something out where they can put deals in the group, and I'm happy with the deals, and I know they're reputable, then that'll be something that comes into the group later on in the year. But I think for now, let's just focus on finding our own food.
Yeah, that sounds good. I like that. I just want to run that by you as well because I don't
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
you
No,
think.
of course, of
Son's not
course, of
getting
course.
involved in the group, but I just felt like, no, I need to,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you're going to get the result one way or another, right?
Mhm.
But I just think, yeah, I'd rather you go and find your own first because these next sort of 12 weeks, I think we really want to just focus on you getting out there, marketing, getting your letters out there, perfecting your pitch. Uh,
Mhm.
I want you to be putting offers in at some point as well. I'm expecting you to be getting told no, over
Yeah. Yeah,
again.
gotta face rejection, gotta
Yeah,
be
yeah,
resilient.
that's
Mhm.
part of the process.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not expecting the first 20 properties for there to all of a sudden be the perfect deal. I'm looking, at least 10 to 12 weeks down the line for that to show itself. But just by speaking with these agents and building that relationship up, sometimes they even send you ones that are not even online, like they haven't even made it onto Rightmove yet.
All
So,
right.
so they
Mhm.
have a whole conveyor belt of stock that's coming on the market that isn't quite ready to be marketed yet for whatever reason. They might not have the keys to go and take the photos, but they know like, okay, we might have a 5 bedroom HMO coming on in February, and it meets Bronwyn's criteria. And because Bronwyn's been pestering me every week, and I quite like her, she's quite likable. I've gone on a viewing a couple of times with her. She's friendly and nice. She's now top of my mind. So rather than us bothering with sending our staff out and going and taking photos of this place, I could just phone
Mhm.
Bronwyn on a Monday morning, or maybe she phoned me on a Monday morning and she could go and view it, take the keys, offer accepted, and agent gets paid. You're happy, and they haven't
Yeah.
had to go and spend money on marketing it and making it inventory and all these things that cost money,
Right,
and
right.
time. So
Yeah.
you could actually get the off market properties as well. Like we've had a couple deals that have come to us like that. Um, they're not in the best condition, but I mean sometimes they're the ones that you want.
Mhm.
So by building those relationships, that's definitely going to be the bridge to you getting your first deal, hopefully.
Okay. No, that's fantastic. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this week.
Yeah, it would be good. It would be good. I mean, I know you've got work as well, so I don't know how you're going to juggle it,
Yeah, I'm gonna
but
figure it out.
you'll figure it out. You're organized, right? So I think
Yeah.
however you can manage it, like I said, try and block them together.
Yeah.
Try and only look in like we said that exact postcode.
Yeah.
Try and keep there for now so that you could get to 2 or 3 viewings within the same hour. You don't need
Yeah.
to be spending half an hour inside a property.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting you to be like a refurbishment specialist and be like looking for, obviously I want you to look out for the obvious stuff like cracks in the walls and
Mhm.
check the waters working, things like that. But you don't need to do any detailed breakdown of how the property is going to look because we might not even offer on these properties yet. Like
Mhm.
remove the pressure from yourself completely and just
Okay.
go and explore and
Yeah. So I'm
be
looking at condition, general condition. I'm looking at room sizes,
room
looking at the
sizes,
photo.
room sizes. You want to know if it's got an HMO license. That's always a good question to ask. Um,
Okay.
there should be. inside the course there is a viewing questions.
Okay.
So print that out or just have
Yeah.
it on your phone, study
Yeah.
it so you feel more
Yeah.
prepared, you know. Um,
Okay.
you could even have some of the scripts up on your laptop when you're making these phone calls just to give yourself a bit
Okay.
more so you don't run out of something to say just in case they ask you a few more questions and you can just be like, okay, I'll just read off the screen. So that might help you out as well.
Hmm.
But yeah, just general damage. You're not going to own these properties, right? So you just need to know that they're not going to fall down. They haven't got huge damp issues everywhere. Um, and you can kind of ask, get a feel for the property on the viewing. Like you could say to the agent, has it ever been an HMO before? Does the landlord live in the UK? You can find out a bit more about the property
Okay.
just by asking general questions like that. But those will all be on your viewing questions. We've put all that down
Yeah.
for
Fantastic.
you'll be more than prepared.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay, okay, cool. So just try and block the viewings together and the
Yeah.
aim here is to just try and view 15, 20 properties this week if possible. I mean, I know that's quite a lot.
Possible. I don't know if I can, but we'll see. We'll
We'll
try.
see. We'll see.
Yeah.
If we aim for 20 and we only get to view 10,
Yeah.
then that's still great
Yeah.
progress. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if we
Absolutely.
only view 7 or 8, that's still fantastic because that's
Mhm.
7 to 8 more contacts that you didn't have today.
Yeah.
And then
That's true.
we go again next week. And then by the end of the month, you've spoken to 30 people and all of a sudden your phone's ringing rather than you having to ring people.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree.
So we were at the beginning stage of building the momentum now.
Hmm.
All right. And if you have any issues, anything that you're struggling with or you're not sure with, just drop me a WhatsApp and we'll figure it out.
Thank you. Thank you, Luke. Thank you for getting my Vim back. I feel good. I'm ready.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm here for,
Feeling
man. We're
like
ready.
I cut it
20.
down there.
No, don't be like that. It's a new year, it's a fresh start. Um,
Yeah.
and we're doing this, right? We're gonna get you where you want to get to. So just stick to the script.
Yeah.
Try keep your spirits high and yeah, do the work and we'll get the result.
Thank you. I will. So
All right.
next time, sorry, next week, same time.
Yeah, same time next week's
Yeah.
perfect for me. Yeah,
Okay.
book it in, and hopefully you should have some funny stories for me.
Thank you, Luke. Well, have a lovely day
You too, and
and
I'll
a good
speak to you
week.
soon, yeah?
Speak to you soon. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.